Hello, and welcome to the Games of Divinity, a Northern Chronicle. A Northern Chronicle is an Exalted 3rd edition game set in the northern direction of creation. Join us as we follow the adventures of the monster hunters Atlas, played by Lauren, and Ursa, played by John, with Becca as our storyteller.
So after careening up into the sky, having gathered the soul steel diclave, we escape, waiting for our animas to reset to not glowing bonfire-ness of doom.
Yes, back to Dan.
And after about an hour, we will redirect to meet up with Akita, completely ignoring the monastery that we just saved from certain destruction. So we'll fly towards that monastery.
I mean, depending upon which one she was going to warn, because I'm pretty sure she may have considered this one a lost cause, so may have been going to the next one down the line.
That's what I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah.
Or she was going to let the guards at Whitewall know, kind of thing. But we will attempt to catch up with her, going to the monastery that we thought she was going to.
Alright, so you guys fly away on your goddess for about an hour. As you guys get closer, you start to see people traveling quickly, horseback mostly, in groups along the Traveler's Road, heading back towards the south, which is... You imagine they might be headed towards that monastery to see what's going on. You make your way to this monastery, which is, you look around, probably the closest one to Whitewall in this direction. Mm-hmm. You see a few off, kind of like in circular around the city itself, with smaller roads that head out in that direction. This one is in much better shape. The walls... You imagine probably on all these monasteries were one of the first things that they dealt with to make sure that the charms that keep the dead and any fae that might attack out of the way. But the inside building here is a lot better than the quick cursory view that you saw flying over the other monastery. You can imagine that because it's closer to Whitewall, they've been able to work on it longer.
Yeah.
Bringing it back up to pace.
The restoration is further along.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this is still not part of the Shadowlands. This is still part of creation.
You know, that's southeast?
It's southeast. Remember, the Shadowlands cross the Traveler's Road.
Right, but only for like 20 miles.
Right, relatively.
And I think that would be further south on the Traveler's Road.
Okay. No, I'm just understanding what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, this is on the west side of the Traveler's Road.
Okay, got it.
All right.
Cool. So we... land.
You do see there's a well-traveled path that goes from the Traveler's Road to this monastery, and you do see people walking along it. Now, at what point are you guys descending on the Agatas?
Outside the monastery?
I mean, are you worried about being spotted at this point, or no?
Well, they know we have Agatas, whoever these people
then
are.
we might as well just land at the monastery.
Land inside the monastery. So we fly down... and basically touch down in the courtyard of the monastery.
As you fly down into this decent-sized courtyard, every stone here is white. The building itself is white. The walls are white. There's not any grass in this courtyard that it circulates. It's all the same kind of white stone. From the gate to the monastery itself, there's... just the one doors, and you walk straight through the wall, and you go straight to the monastery. You see members that similarly dressed to the lady, running around, trying to gather stuff as they're beginning to make a retreat. And people seem to be stopped as you guys land within the courtyard.
And I look around for the other Agata and our friend, both of them. The girl and the Akito. Toe.
Akito.
Think about your toe.
Akito.
So, I mean, based off of your language, they would have gone back to the city.
Oh, fair enough.
For what you said.
Well then...
However...
Yes.
You didn't say they had to stay there.
Completely true.
Yeah. So, they might be at the monastery.
Yeah.
And we were out for an hour, and these are fast, so, yeah.
You do see well-armored members kind of directing these people who've also stopped and looked at you. A younger gentleman in armor will come up to you and just kind of like look at the two of you questioningly.
We're here for our ward.
Yeah, Elaine has taken him inside the monastery.
Very good. I'm glad to hear he's safe. Would you please show us to him?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kind of. He's not anyone to scoff at himself, but paying attention to Ursa's like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm being polite. We haven't pulled out swords.
Yeah, we're nice.
He takes you guys inside the monastery, which is ornate in nature, similar construction, a lot of white stone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noting that as being obviously significant. So we look around the ornate hall?
I imagine more of like a cathedral where it opens up into I think hall is the correct word, but I was thinking like hallway, which is smaller, whereas an actual hall would be quite large, tall ceilings, that sort of thing. But then as you go in further, there seems to be back rooms, as well as a staircase that goes up to the next story. He takes you back up that way and softly knocks on one of the doors up there. And Elaine will respond, and he kind of goes, two gentlemen, and he looks at you. So you didn't introduce yourselves.
We have not. He looks at us expectantly. We're here for Akito.
You hear a rustling, and the door open as Akito's like, hey, you guys are okay.
Yep.
Oh, come on in. I was just telling her everything I know.
Excellent.
Oh, God.
I say as I stride in. Ursa having to duck the doorway, which I'm sure is way too...
Ursa's got his fingers pinched on either side of the bridge of his nose as he ducks his head down to get into the room.
Elaine looks at you guys bemused.
Alright.
So, and then Akito she'll wave the guard away, and Akito will close the door. So I was telling Elaine how we met, and how you guys would easily be able to dispatch the monsters.
And which monsters need dispatching?
Well, I mean, we're talking about the zombies, but I guess there are other... He kind of looks back towards her. She mentioned that, there's lots of undead things here. There's this really cool one. And he starts to get ready to go into this, and if you guys want to interrupt him.
I mean, I was just going to let him continue rambling.
I'm actually kind of amused to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
Well, so I told her that you guys are monster hunters, and that, just a few of those dead creatures you'd be able to handle no problem. And then she kind of told me about some of the other stuff that's happening here. There's these things called mort whites, and he kind of looks back at her, and she just nods with a smile on her face. Apparently they're like these big black creatures that come out of the... What are they called? What is that land called?
The Shadowlands.
The Shadowlands. And sometimes they devour some of the travelers.
They sound like a threat that the guard is more than capable of dealing with. Akito, you have obviously been enjoying your time with Elaine. You sound very enthusiastic. Would you like to stay here with her and learn more? Or would you like to come with us?
He looks offended at you.
Even Ursa's like, what the hell, dude?
This seems like a safe place.
Are you trying to get rid of... Are you guys leaving?
Well, we're going to go to the city. Would you like to come with us?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really get to go all the way into the city, but it's so... I could never have imagined anything like it before.
I was asking if you wanted to stay here with her or come with us to the city, but if you'd like to come with us, you are absolutely welcome. Elaine, would you like to travel with us as well?
I would. But first, what of the other monastery?
Oh, it's fine.
Last we saw, there was a little bit of they're going to need to burn the area around it. But last I saw it, the monastery there was a bunch of corpses littered on the ground.
Some minor damage to the walls.
Nothing that a little bit of work
You guys suck.
won't fix.
You guys suck. I'm just going to say this. You guys suck.
Why?
Do I really?
No part of what we said was wrong.
I didn't say it was wrong, but...
She's looking at the social combat rules right now.
No, Becca, no! Don't socialize!
I mean, because the thing is, you'll be stone-faced. She'll be able to see through you. She'll be able to read Ursa like a fucking book.
Maybe.
You can use read intentions to figure out people's intimacies.
Mm-hmm. He's got a guile of 1.
Yeah. Am I up to a 2 yet? Oh. No, I still have a 1.
Oh, so we're both terrible liars. Gotcha.
I on top of that, if I lie, I get to roll limit. Yeah, so it's really bad.
So guile is only really used against read intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is what she's going to be attempting to do in the next couple of questions she has for you guys.
Okay.
So the last thing that you said was...
There was some minor damage to the walls, but
the grounds were littered
with zombies. Like they're
with body parts.
Everybody there is fine.
When I left, there was hundreds of those things. What happened to them?
I look at Ursa. I look back at her.
Someone took care of them.
What, did you think we did it?
Quit pushing the envelope. That is a lie.
Alright, so what's your guys' guile?
1 for both of us.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Hey, look, she got 2.
Okay.
Well, then she wins.
So then, on a success, the storyteller should give a brief description of what the character wants out of the interaction. Okay.
She wants to know that we...
With the vagary, she suspects something's up and is trying to determine whether or not that's actually accurate.
So, we are being honest.
But we're being vague. So her suspicion that something's up is just that. It's a suspicion. Because this isn't evidence that she's presented. This is she suspects something.
Yeah, so essentially what she would be able to infer is that we are being honest about our assessments, but there are...
gaps.
Yeah, we don't want to tell the entire story.
Someone dealt with them.
Yes.
That someone being you two?
The last we saw, it was intact. The monastery was intact.
That wasn't the question she asked.
You can misdirect.
Yeah.
So if she wants to convince us, then that would be the persuade action, I believe. Which is opposed by resolve, which we're both better at.
Gotcha. Finish what you were saying, though.
Yeah. The last I saw, the monastery was intact, and it was not being threatened.
She looks rather displeased that you're just not answering her question. And she kind of calmly collects herself and goes, if you don't want to tell me, that's disappointing. But I suggest that we at least tell the Guardians.
Sure.
They're going to want to know a more accurate description of what happened.
I'm sure they will want to know that. In the meantime, we have not been properly introduced, and the last time we talked, you were horribly out of breath. I understand your name's Elaine. I'm Atlas, and this is Ursa. And of course you already know Akito.
As he just kind of like, these are my friends. Yes, I am Elaine. I am one of the people responsible for helping to restore the monasteries in the region.
Are you a geomancer?
The answer is yes.
That is very interesting. You must... a very specialized school.
It's very important for this region, as a lot of these monasteries were originally set up to help protect the area.
Now, I'm no expert in this region, but I've come through before. I don't remember the monasteries on the outskirts being constructed.
They've been here. Most of them were, and the further you get away from White Wall, the more destroyed they were.
And the city has decided to rebuild them more recently. Then.
And the Syndicate has decided that it would be wise for us to reclaim as much land as possible. The more fortified we can make the surrounding area, the safer we can make it from the armies that we deal with.
Yes, the Fae and the Dead, I presume. Unless there's another one.
Currently, that is it.
More than most cities have to contend with by a factor of 2.
It is our reality.
Well, we were going to head into the city, and actually I don't think we had a specific plan. We were in the area. We thought we would stop by.
Food.
And wine.
Provisions.
Well, you've come in an excellent time of year. With it being summer, we have summer festival period going on. A lot of traders from out of town tend to come and congregate. She smiles at the both of you. If you would like to join me, I can give you a tour of the city.
As I already offered easy transportation there. I think that would be very lovely. And I know Akito would like to see the city in more detail as well.
Excellent. The first thing I will be showing you... As she catches herself just a quick moment, will be our bathhouses. Kind of looks at the three of you.
I don't have social life, so I can't do read intentions.
I will take her comment at face value and assume, oh, are they well built?
They are a wonder to behold. It is... Does Ursa give her a face at all?
Yes. Could I actually default on read intentions?
The way that I'm going to say this is if you can pick up something with what I'm doing, you're welcome to...
On a related note, there is no defaulting like there is another, because you're an Exalt. So if you have no skill, you still get the attribute roll.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Oh, okay.
So...
I think that's what he was asking.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that straight up.
There are certain very specific things you can't do if you don't have X requirements, but in general, it's not a rule.
I mean, this would be a 1 success. 1 difficulty.
7.
Excellent.
Her guile is also 1.
Probably.
Oh.
Wait, 7 successes?
No, 1 success.
Oh! I'm like, good God,
7.
man.
That would have been mathematically impossible on 3 dice.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't spend willpower, Jesus.
Okay, so...
She wants to show us the bathhouses.
Yes, as the first stop.
As the first stop.
So
we will
is
forward
that,
to the tour.
like, basically her intentions behind the statement, I think, is how it reads.
Okay.
So, like, the examples it gives are, like, he's seducing you to get you alone, she's making polite small talk and waiting for this party to end, etc.
She wants you to take a bath because you smell bad.
And that's quite literally what it is.
Okay.
But it's not just you. She looked at everybody, so you can assume that she thinks you all need a bath.
Okay. Well, that's less sinister than I thought it was.
She's going to take us to the bathhouses.
Yeah. It's a house of some sort, except it's a guard instead of a bath.
They have bars on the walls instead of open air.
Yeah. Exactly. You could get a bath there, potentially.
I'm not saying you want one.
God. Excellent. All right, so you guys exit the monastery. She willingly accompanies you, and you head to...
Oh, before we actually leave,
yes.
I will turn to her and say, I am not super familiar with Whitewall. Is there a location where I could dispose of something that I found laying on the ground?
What sort of something?
I produced the Soul Steel Diclave. It was stuck in the ground when I picked it up. She could roll to see if there's more to the story, and then she'd find out that there is, but that doesn't mean I'm...
She got 3 successes.
She knows there's more to the story, but I'm also not... I'm being elusive, but not sinister.
Dishonest. Yeah. Elusive, but not dishonest.
Yeah, because he's the one limit.
I'm refusing to lie to her. I don't believe in lying.
I mean, that depends on what you count as a lie. Is it active deceit or is lie of omission count?
If she knows, if I'm being obvious that I'm being elusive, is it really a lie? I'm really, really...
You are hardcore towing that line.
And you can have me roll whenever you want. On a related note, did you want to stop by that monastery on our way back? I know it's doubling back, but we can move pretty fast.
I know. It was incredible being able to fly on these. But I didn't answer your question, because you moved past it too quickly.
Yes, I did.
She kind of takes it, or at least, like, takes a closer look at it if you hold it.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have people that might be interested in this within the city. It's one of the largest cities in this region. If you're looking to sell it, you might find a buyer for it.
Okay.
I don't...
Wasn't exactly what I was thinking, but that's fine.
Well, what were you thinking?
It is a fairly lovely piece of artifice, but I can't help but think that it might be more suitable in a different form.
You want it remade?
I want it broken. I am quite certain that the value of an object like this would be a prince's ransom.
I don't know if there's anyone in the city capable of handling something like this.
And that is what my concern was. It is certainly beyond my knowledge.
How important is it to you?
I suppose it's not that important that it be destroyed. I simply don't need it anymore. Or ever needed it. As I said, I picked it up on the ground recently.
Does a little bit of an eye roll. Subtle one.
And figured it would be appropriate to either destroy it or get it to somebody who could find it useful.
Someone who can find it useful? Yes, we can do that. I am connected within the city. I do know people. I can make inquiries for you.
Would appreciate that. One way or the other, whether it's in its current form or is destroyed and reduced to raw material, even that raw material would be worth a princely sum. I'd be happy to ensure you get a significant portion of that if you are able to help us. We don't need it.
I know we don't need it.
But also leaving it there was not going to be a great option either.
I'm all for throwing it into the mountains.
It'll be picked up sooner or later. So we can mount the Agaves.
Yeah, you guys have made your way out to the courtyard. Like, that conversation was kind of taking place as you were coming out. And Akito hops on his, and he's like, Elaine, you can ride with me. As he's more than excited to carry them out with her again. Believer? Oh, gosh.
Believer.
Oh, no. Dad, I better not be leaving her there. Anyways. Okay, so you guys, she would like to head back for her
own edification. Sure. Yeah. We'll fly there.
To show we're not lying. Everything was taken care of. Someone did take care of it.
I didn't even go that far. Part of the thing that's funny is Ursa is leaving in certain details that Atlas wouldn't say because it would be skirting the line too closely. Whereas Atlas is still being elusive. I don't know. It's just one of those things it's goofy. It becomes more deceptive because of our back and forth.
So, anyway, we'll fly back out there, let her get a look at the monastery and everything. And
if you guys are okay with it, she'll want to land.
Yeah.
They seem to be like they can't get the gate open. Imagine that.
Ursa, my friend, would you do the honors?
He just grips the bell, lifts it up off the ground, sets it off to the side.
And then the doors come crashing in. As people on the inside of the courtyard, all kind of roll through it real quick. She will go to the few people that are at the gate and inquire if everybody's actually okay. Did they see anything? What happened? And they inform her that it was difficult to see anything discernible out on the battlefield over what little they could see over the wall through the monastery. They know that a great battle happened, and really, as best as anyone could tell, the collective story seems to be that 2 people came in, but they did not get any details about said people. Lucky sons of bitches.
They probably did see the anima flares over the walls.
Well, either that or the shadowy stuff that managed to obscure it well enough.
There was stuff that was happening, but they don't necessarily understand.
Exactly.
So.
Don't shake your head at us. It's your dice that betrayed you.
I know. Anyways. And so with that, she kind of sighs in frustration. But seems to be glad that everybody is well intact and turns around. Thank you.
You're welcome for the ride.
Word for word what I was thinking. We're glad that everybody's okay.
Alright, let's head back. I don't know about any of the other monasteries in this line, but I could imagine that if this was not their first stop, which is likely, the syndicate's going to want to know. Let's head back. I'll show you to the bathhouse first.
Excellent.
And make the necessary preparations for meetings.
Meetings. Excellent. As long as there's drinking involved, right, Ursa?
Alcohol can make a lot of things tolerable.
Akira was like, oh.
You can have one.
We'll see how you do with one.
It's like, that sort of, yeah.
I mean, he is 16. By the time period standards, he is a man.
Exactly.
Excellent. Alright, so you guys head back to Whitewall.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a perfect circular city with... Now that I have the book out, let me... Okay, so you guys head straight towards the Traveler's Gate, correct?
On the Traveler's Road, the only gate to the city.
Okay.
And I'll set us down outside the gate. Not a ways, but, basically right outside of it, and then we can walk in through the gate.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do with the Agatas?
Circle, please. Thank you. Come if we need you.
Okay, and then they go to fly up. You would have noticed people... I imagine that they have people up on the walls?
Oh, I'm sure they do. And the Agatas are definitely noticeable. I mean, they're flying rainbows, basically. Rainbow wasps.
Yeah, people are on alert because of that. And you are met by the people, the guardians at the front gate. But seeing that you are with Elaine, she greets them kindly and says, "These are my guests, and damn it, if I use it now, will you guys continue to make fun of me?"
Yes.
I mean, so use it now.
Tell Commander Carl.
That's awesome.
Tell Commander Carl that we will request an audience. And one of them just goes, yes, and starts to head out to deal with that. So you guys just entered the city of Whitewall. I rechecked. It is 15 yards high and 16 yards wide.
16.
6 yards wide.
Mm-hmm.
So very sizably. You guys continue in on foot. As you walk into, there's lots of traffic going in and out. And actually, I forgot to say this. Outside the gate, there was like a makeshift, I hate that I'm saying this, tent city outside of the walls, given the time of year it is. You guys definitely drew a lot of attention as you came in.
Yeah.
We are not subtle.
Yeah.
Not really, no.
Elaine begins to kind of have... either of you been to the city before?
It's been a while.
About 20 years ago now.
Okay, so it's been some time. The city's broken down into 4 major areas. The front part is... that we'll be walking into... Town is where a lot of the shops are going to be, so when we get a chance, Atlas, that's where I'll be likely trying to figure out your inquiry. Past that is Midtown, which tends to be more on the residential area. And then even further past that is mostly where the syndicate conducts their business. Any political items and those wealthy live in the furthest portion.
Half town.
The 4th area is actually underneath Whitewall, and where we'll be going down for our baths.
It's not called Underton, is it?
It is.
It's been a while since I've been here, but I remembered that. Tell me more about the history of this town. I know relatively little. I love engaging and understanding. I'm saying this as we walk.
Well, no. Ursa's responding. Really?
How do you go through life without knowing what came before you?
No, that's not what I'm shocked by. There's something you don't know.
Oh! I say in character.
Like, Ursa's legit surprised. Like, so far you've been like a walking encyclopedia for the last 3 years that you've been traveling together. Except for this one instance.
I will definitely want to stop at a bookshop.
As far as I know, because she would be able to tell you stuff.
We can, off camera, as we're walking, we talk about history. Like, that's fine. Atlas, as he's walking through the streets, feels some kind of tie, some kind of comfort level. Being here just kind of feels right. There's something about a vibration, a resonance within the essence that embodies all creation. It just feels stronger, like he's closer. And it's not all of him, it's just a portion of him, but it's loud and it calls out. This feels like home. It's not home. but it feels like home. And so at this point, he's mostly trying to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And how is he doing that?
He's talking to her about history.
Gotcha. I see. She overtakes you guys probably about 2-mile walk to one of the entrances to Undertown. From there, you guys make your ways to the baths. And there is this is funny how they segregate it. How old is Atlas?
Early 20s?
Okay. And Ursa appears to be...
Ursa's about 52.
I think that might be considered an elder.
I think it might be considered an elder as well.
Okay. So, she will show you down the hall, Ursa.
Mm-hmm.
Please, this is for our most respected elders. You will find everything that you need down that way, and there are attendants who can answer any questions if you have any.
Alright. Bringing my armor with me, though. This stuff needs to be cleaned, too.
We would ask that you don't do that in the baths themselves, but there can be cleaning materials brought to you.
I laugh and say, it'll take him half an hour to get out of it.
Not that long.
If need be, you can go help him.
Oh, he's fine.
And he will actually start shedding his armor. Like,
Okay.
as he walks back towards
I know
the
you
area.
said shedding, but
I know. I probably know what you heard. No, he's like, takes off his helmet and starts like unbuckling things like as he's walking. Like he'll take all of his stuff off before he gets into the bath.
I think that the Japanese style hot springs where you have that like first room before you actually get to the baths themselves, with a place to store all your belongings.
Yeah, and he would request some cleaning material so that he could clean it before he got redressed, basically.
One of the attendants who's there in white will purposefully not gazing at you too long, will kind of bow and be like, we will have materials waiting for you when you are done with your bath.
Good.
Towels are over in that direction.
Yeah, that should be enough.
And where are the baths for those of us who are not yet hard
So
elders?
Ursa goes up in that direction and Elaine turns around and goes, this way for our baths. Now, I know you mentioned you've been here before. Have you actually taken a bath here?
I have not. And I know Akito hasn't either.
Can only do one NPC at the time.
So he's quietly following for the moment.
Yeah,
He's
he's
talking.
wide-eyed wonderment. He, again, has never been in a solidly carved out area like this before underground. She will escort you both to the bath area and kind of go off into, she points into an area for you a place to store your stuff, and then she goes off in her own direction doing the same. Once you're done, you come back together and you head into the bath, which happens to be co-ed.
Co-ed and fully nude. Yep.
Yep.
Hop in the baths.
Excellent.
At least Ursa gets some privacy.
Oh, you get privacy from them.
Fair enough.
All the older people just kind of give you your space, but they're there.
And they're probably staring at you.
Ah, yes, my people.
All the grumpy old men and women who are like, huh.
Exactly. Ursa is still very strong, but he ain't very pretty.
One might call you hideous.
Yes, one might. It's almost as if I took a merit of the same name.
I know, right? So stuff happens in the baths.
Mm-hmm.
We clean ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
And probably be about an hour for you, depending on how. I mean, the baths are very comfortable. It is very much a hot spring light.
Yeah. And he would enjoy it a little bit, but he would, basically just get himself clean and then work on cleaning the armor and then getting everything put back together.
Gotcha.
So after a while, and I figure we have plenty of time, flash back to the locker room where I've got my very dirty clothes, standing there naked, looking around, and say to...
Oh, crap. Akito would have been very unusual because he would have kept his headdress on.
Okay.
For very good reasons. So, not only does he stand out for his skin color, but he also stood out
the white
for...
hair and pointed ears. Forget about that.
I did too. And then I went, wait a second.
So standing there naked in the locker room with my clothes, my dirty laundry, as it were, sitting right there with my swords intermingled, I turn to Elaine and go, I'm all squeaky clean. I feel like I should go buy new clothes.
That would not be...
I feel awkward putting on dirty clothes.
I know.
With me being clean.
I think it would make sense, like, if you pay...
I'll pay a tip page or whatever.
Yeah.
Go get me some clean linens.
Well, I mean, not even that, but they could have washed... It wouldn't have been dry.
Oh, I'm sure my clothes are a mess at this point. I'll just order new ones, as it were.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and say 1 dinar. Just take care of all of it.
Yep.
Would you have done that for Akito as well?
Sure.
Okay.
Another one.
I
just made
and between that, so you now have a spare set of clothes. And they would be waiting for you when you got back.
And they'd be appropriate style for the region and all of that. And so dress and be sitting outside making light chit-chat with Elaine and Akito as we wait for Ursa to lumber up.
Yep. He'll come back out, fully decked out in the armor. Guess I'm clean enough.
I think I've ever seen the armor shine like that. You know, that is very mercurial.
Okay.
It almost bends the light as I look at it.
Anyway.
Elaine just kind of looks at the two of you, obviously not getting the inside joke, and will stand up from the benches that you were sitting on and flatten out her skirts. And all right, I haven't heard word yet, but I'm sure that Commander Carl will be ready for us at this point. If you'll follow me, I will take you to him.
Were we getting more of a tour first? Or are we straight to the commander?
Given the situation, straight to the commander makes the most sense, but once we finish with that, we could get you large lodgings for the night and continue on with our tour if you'd like.
Okay, let's go, please. We follow her.
As you guys make your way through Fort Town, you see many shops and markets, jewelers, swordsmiths, and other artisans' shops here. You also see several stable houses, as well as tea houses, and Elaine also mentions that there is a college of mining and metallurgy in this area. For all the mining that they do in the region.
Very interesting.
So, yeah, she takes you to where the guardians would congregate, and the guards there bring you up to Commander Carl, who is decked out in jade armor.
God damn it. Okay. I know what that means.
What color of jade?
I'm going to say red.
I will note that doesn't mean he's a fire-blooded, hypothetically. Because they don't have to correspond. I'm just curious.
I like the idea of red, so it's red.
Cool.
He is a hefty man. You come to him in an office, but this is what he looks like. He's a bigger, heftier man. Again, decked out in red jade armor.
Oh,
has
nice.
I would imagine this is...
Grand diclave.
A grand diclave. He has a fairly impressive brown beard, as well as brown hair that's shaved on the sides with tattoos going from his forehead down to the back part of his neck. And the hair that he does have is pulled back into a braid ponytail, and he's almost as intimidating as Ursa.
He is hideous. Got it.
No, I didn't say he's hideous. I'm just saying he's got that gruff
Gotcha.
commander look to him. As he kind of to Elaine and apprises the both of you, and the skinny twig Akito trailing in behind you. Mm-hmm. Report.
I look at Elaine.
She looks at you, seeming to have grown very tired of this interaction, and turns to Carl. You asshole for making me talk to myself.
I'm not part of their military.
Neither am I.
She's not either.
Well, so he says report like we work for him, but none of us work for him.
These men were the ones to report on the attack of the armies of the undead attacking the monasteries. Atlas, go ahead and describe to him what you saw, what you witnessed.
The grounds around the monastery are littered with the body parts of torn apart zombies. The last I saw, the monastery had a large bell that was removed from the front gates by my companion Ursa here.
Ursa nods.
Yes.
Earlier, I did pick up a soul steel diclave from the battlefield. What more do you want to know?
How many undead?
None. They all look to be in pieces.
He sighs as you obviously literally took what he said.
Literally.
How many were there?
Why are we having a conversation, Commander? I don't work for you. You're not paying us. We're guests in your city. If you wish to request that we leave, we will do so peacefully. I do not understand.
He glares at you and then kind of turns around, breaking eye contact with you to look out his window in his office. As you can kind of see that he seems to be calming himself in a way, and then turns back to face you. A guest in our city you might be, but we must take our defenses seriously.
I'm not asking you not to.
The more accurate reports I have, the better I am to deploy my men.
If I had to guess, there were probably between hundreds and 1,000.
He looks thoughtful as you say this. Any hints of someone who might be behind this?
The diclave belonged to a powerful ghost.
He kind of holds out his arm so that he may inspect it. As Atlas unsheathes it and hands it to the commander. Do you hand it to him or do you hold it?
I was holding it so he could examine it.
I see. That does not bode well. Someone who's able to wield something like that. Any idea who handled this army?
Yes. Myself and Ursa decimated it.
Okay, the cat's out of the bed.
Do you have any other questions, Commander?
Takes a long moment contemplating the two of you.
God, it's gonna happen. We're gonna have to murder a city official.
Then do you know who is behind this attack?
The commander was an ancient ghost. He fled. The zombies could not. The zombies were slaughtered. There was not one left by the time we left. I am certain there are probably more, as you are, very close to the Shadowlands. I would expect further attacks.
Like I said, we take our defense very seriously, and those who would help defend us as well.
Commander, you clearly have monasteries that you are rebuilding throughout the valley. You also have a tremendous amount of farmland. I understand all of this. Furthermore, from what I saw, there was a...
I think you misunderstood him.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't threatening you.
Okay.
He was stating a fact. It was more, well, I guess technically that would be a read intentions.
I mean, Ursa's take on it is that this is the closest to gratitude we're going to get from this.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
For the time being, I'd request that you and your party stay within the city, as you might be invited to talk with the syndicate.
We will take your request under advisement.
He'll go to his desk and open one of the drawers and grab a bag, go to someplace else in his office and start putting in the currency of the particular town, and then tie it off and throw it at you.
Is it heavy?
It's reasonably heavy.
Yeah.
You hear it chink as you test it. Please consider that as gratitude, and you're welcome to stay in tavern.
We will find our accommodations. Thank you, Commander.
He gives a specific name of the tavern.
We leave. As we are stepping outside, I think it's appropriate that you get a suitable reward for alerting help. And I hand it to Elaine. I toss it to Elaine, is really...
And she, caught off guard. It's like, why didn't you just tell me?
That is a good question. And the answer is, you tend to attract a lot of attention when people find out that you can take down an army.
For good reason.
We came to town not wanting attention. We helped because we could, and because we felt it was appropriate. That doesn't mean we want to be solving every problem that you have.
Depends on how interesting the problems are, Atlas.
That's true. Ursa did get a big kick out of that little squabble.
Still pissed that little pansy ran away.
He noticed that he couldn't hurt you and left.
That's not an excuse. You start a fight, you stay there till it ends. That's how it works.
In any event, you mentioned that we could go find a bookstore, a place where I could inquire about relieving myself of this artifact, and maybe find an inn for us for the night.
I can go set some items up for you. Make sure that you have, like, chinking the bag. I'll make sure you have accommodations. I'll set that up for you. And you're welcome to peruse the fort town. You'll likely find what you're looking for there if you want to take the time for the sword yourself.
Very well, I will.
Don't worry about spending that. We're not paupers. That's for you.
I nod, knowing that it's probably more money than she's ever had.
Well, if she doesn't want to use it for herself, she can put it towards the reconstruction effort.
Whatever she wants to do with it, we gave it to her. Right. So you're going to go see to that. We'll go pop around Fort Town a little bit and get drunk off our asses. Perfect.
She kind of like, you say that, you turn to leave, and she goes, wait. I haven't had a chance to go over the laws of White Wall yet.
That sounds important.
It's...
You know, a party's not going to be fun when someone has to tell you the rules beforehand.
I assume drunk and disorderly should be kept to a minimum?
As long as you keep to yourself... shoot.
I can imagine Atlas and Ursa starting... She starts with, and then we start interjecting, and we keep naming off ridiculous laws, like, if you're going to murder an army of zombies, do it outside the city walls.
Don't feed cheese to the tyrant lizard.
All bribes must be composed entirely of ancient, archaic amber from the east. Otherwise, they will not be accepted.
Sandalwood is under no circumstances allowed within city limits.
Celestial wine must be surrendered duly to the nearest guard. For their very, very much drunken in pleasure.
Sorry.
No. She's as exasperated as you guys tease her.
No, that was him saying sorry. Continue.
Tell us the actual laws, please.
Basically, what it comes down to, that... here we go. Public intoxication is, of course, an offense against public civility.
I was right!
Okay, so... White Wall's law even includes a special class of misdemeanors called offenses against public civility. So, be on good behavior is really what she recommends.
We buy as much alcohol as we can carry. We hop on our regattas, find a mountaintop, and get drunk off our asses. Pretty sure the laws haven't changed in 20 years.
I remember getting pretty drunk back then and nobody arrested me for that.
Then you obviously kept it to yourself. Kind of like some... I'm not a judge. It's not my place. But I wouldn't go around making another fuss.
Fine.
And with that, she goes off to make your accommodations.
Alright. So, you enjoy the bookstore. Ursa's going to take the kid to get his drink on.
With that being said, she will also mention to you that she will be in one of the smaller tea houses in Fort Town, which actually ends up being a little bit closer to Midtown.
Okay.
This evening, if you would like to join her for dinner.
Very good.
Alrighty.
I will go with you and the kid for the first little bit. You don't have to come with me to the bookstores, that's fine. But...
Yeah. So, we'll go to the inn that the commander recommended.
Okay. It is sort of an inn, but also seems to be, you see a lot of the off-guard militia type here.
Okay.
It's mostly barracks with a couple of beds for guests. Got it. Yeah, let's find another inn.
It's a small inn. I think of it more as like a cozy, you have that entrance, inside's actually decked with wood instead of straight up stone. Mm-hmm. There's a kind-looking young man behind the counter, and off in one direction, so you walk in and then there's a hall, and off to the right, off to your right, there seems to be some traffic going in and out as you see people in armor coming and going from this area occasionally. In the other direction, it's not nearly as busy.
I might be able to find another inn, but not too worried about drinking at this one.
Alright. Order some drinks.
As long as we don't, start blasting our case mark, we should be in the clear.
Hey, I'm not worried about you and me handling our booze. I'm worried about him. So keep him light.
What? I'm gonna do just fine.
You say that, knowing we haven't started drinking yet.
Hey, you don't know what I'm capable of.
That's true, let's find out. But I remember during sparring you have some improvement. I'm guessing you'll need to start small with drinking.
Kind of like, just turns his back to you and just mutters under his breath.
Hey kid, after we're done drinking, if you want to go with me to the bookstore, I'll tell you about some of the legends that I know.
Alright, we'll go to the inn.
Okay.
And I'm guessing it's a tavern inn sort of joint.
Yeah. Beyond the entranceway, if you continue past the person at the desk, you kind of like, are you going to be staying for a while?
We're here to drink.
You're here to drink, all right. And he kind of points you back past his desk into more of the eating area.
Yep. And as is Ursa's usual practice, he'll clear a space out for himself to sit on the ground so he doesn't destroy the furniture.
With where you're at, you think that you would attract more stares, but everyone just kind of seems to they take note of you guys, and then they go back to what they're doing.
As opposed to other places we've been, where...
It's flat out stare at you because you're a freak. There's actually...
I like this place.
Like I said, there's something that feels right about this place.
Alright. So, he'll go ahead and take his seat, on the ground. Then, I guess we'll wait for the serving person to take our order.
A nice young woman comes by and inquires what you'd be interested in having.
Pitcher of ale for me.
I've heard the wine is exquisite here. I would like several glasses.
We do produce locally cherry wine. It tends to be more on the expensive side, sir.
So the entire bottle then. Excellent. I put a dinar on the counter. Honestly, that is a vast overpayment / tip. Even if the wine is more expensive, like I said, that's...
Okay, that's fine. I know, it's putting it all into context for me. Sometimes it takes a moment.
Somebody says it's an expensive bottle of wine, and I put $1,000 on the counter.
As she takes it and goes, all right, I'll bring you out a bottle, and an ale, the pitcher of ale for you, sir, and
a mug of ale for the smallest one.
As Akita just kind of looks up at her, and when you point him out, he goes, he just like shyly, excitedly waves at her.
Is she real pretty?
She's fairly pretty. Prettier. Granted, you guys just went and took a bath in a co-ed bath place, but for whatever reason now he's like, is still even more shy with lack of knowledge of how to deal with the opposite sex.
Yep.
It's one of those things that come with time. He'll be okay.
You're just hoping, right?
So, montage of us drinking.
And Ursa's going to make sure not to get too crazy about it, seeing as how apparently people are grumpy about it here. So.
And Atlas will hold his liquor without any trouble at all. But after finishing the bottle of very, very good wine.
Very good wine.
I will ask for a shot glass or something and pour a little bit for Akito so he can taste the difference.
It depends on how he handles his first mug.
It's true.
He takes his time. He sips at it gingerly, kind of taking the pace of what you guys are doing. And once it starts to kick in and he relaxes a little bit more, he'll quietly ask you guys about the battle.
I will quietly mention certain details. They had a ghostly commander who wore the very night as a cloak. I think that's a fairly descriptive.
It's a really good description, yeah.
And he had this sword, and I show... he's seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, he's seen it.
He had this sword and armor that matched it. Armor that looks a lot like Ursa's, actually, except midnight black.
And not shaped like a bear.
And shaped like more conventional armor. But he could hold his own.
He was solid enough. He impacted into the wall pretty solid.
Yeah.
That big mark?
It was. Although, to be honest, I expected Ursa to throw him through the wall, which actually was a concern for me. I didn't want the walls getting breached.
It would have. If you didn't do that weird thing that made me think you were him.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So he takes another sip of his mug.
I mean, come on, nobody got hurt.
No, it's true.
Kind of funny when you think about it.
It kind of reminds me of that one time when we first met.
Not nearly enough property damage.
Well, we were intentional that first time. I'll tell you stories later. In the meantime, how's that ale holding up?
He's been sipping at it. He seems to be enjoying it.
There's still some in-character stuff I want to do.
Oh, and I don't have a problem with that. For the moment, nothing... I'm not going to spur anything going forward.
So Becca-directed stuff is done for the night. Us-directed stuff can still happen.
Probably what will be is you guys basically spend the rest of the morning, afternoon, and the little bit of evening before meeting back up with Elaine to do whatever you want.
Okay. So, after... I forget it's morning that we're drinking with the kid. So after we drink a little bit, and I'll get lunch or breakfast or whatever's appropriate for the time of day as well. And then go outside, the kid in tow, and regale him with some stories about different beasts that have been spotted in the north and what have you. Meanwhile, going to bookstores and basically buying books. I will spend another dinar.
Okay.
Because I buy a lot of books.
And where are you keeping said books?
Because it very much amuses me. I start stacking him in Akito's arms. So he's walking around with a big stack of books.
Oh, gosh. Okay, yeah. He'll hold on to them for you.
And I'll carry a couple in my arms, but I'm just amused by being followed by this 16-year-old with a library in his arms.
Is there specific types of books?
I'm interested in anything occultish, lore, history. I'm very interested in the history of Whitewall. I'm going to want to read up on that, especially anything old. I know I'm going to probably have some trouble finding that, but I'm very interested.
So let's go ahead and I will have you roll...
Intelligence plus investigation might be appropriate.
Yeah, sure. And it's weird because I can very much see this one having a stacking effect. So basically, the better you do, the more likely you are to... So I'm not going to... you're going to be able to find books, but the more likely you are to find those rare ones you're looking for.
4.
Okay. So you're looking for books on history in the area of Whitewall.
Mm-hmm. That was the biggest thing.
Biggest thing. Anything occult-ish?
I just have a general interest in anything of the occult, so that's why I'm not looking for those specifically, but if I see something that's interesting, yoink. And, of course, I ignore all the ones I've already read.
So, given that your character's actually read quite a bit of books, it's not going to be like a huge stack above Akito's head.
But I love that image.
I know. You stumble into a hole-in-the-wall shop that deals mostly with books. From there, you're able to get a few on the history of Whitewall. Yes, he's able to point, the shopkeep points out some Whitewall history. And you even get, he'll even hand you the exact primer for the laws of Whitewall.
Oh, excellent.
So you know exactly what the laws are.
I also, as I'm talking, and we're going from shop to shop, and I'm regaling Akito with stories about various legends and whatever. I try to inspire him, or instill in him a love of history, because he's a person.
Okay, go for it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes.
Okay, he seems to hang on every word. Yep, that has resolved it too.
Very good.
The way that you talk about history has him engaged.
I'm assuming it would just be a minor tie, but it's still one of those things where it's...
Yeah, to start out with.
Exactly. With all of that said, actually, bookstores and the like might know who I could talk to about artifacts. If there's any artifact dealers, that kind of thing. Their worlds would cross, I believe. But not necessarily a bookshop. It's not going to sell dieclaves.
Okay, go ahead and roll charisma plus socialize, because you will have them.
1, 2, 3 successes.
Okay. There's a gentleman who does work with someone who's in that field. We will talk about it later.
They point me in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I try to offload the thing.
We will talk about it later.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that'll be
I cannot handle it anymore.
Like, you need to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because and
we're done for the night.
It's starting to turn into just you go to this one place and then you go to that one place, and I feel like Whitewall deserves more than that.
Well, and that's why I wanted to kind of hand wave what I was doing, and I could see going from bookstore to bookstore. So that part's fine.
But a significant, you're trying to offload a artifact.
Exactly. No,
That's-
that should be significant, and that
Okay.
should be on screen. The book stuff was different, and I acknowledge that.
Okay.
So, XPs.
But real quick, was there anything that Ursa wanted
Yes.
to do during this time?
Not really. No.
Okay.
There's, unless there's somehow an underground fist fighting ring in this place, he probably wouldn't be looking for much.
Just an underground sex den, that's it.
No, not that either.
No, they're
Also
pretty
known as a
orderly
bath.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and do XP 5 for being here. Good job, guys.
We showed up. Woohoo!
Participation award.
We only have 5 sessions left since Tuesday, John.
Yeah. So close I can taste it.
That just means I'm gonna have to actually throw harder stuff at you guys.
I need to pick up Essence Gathering
That's
Temple
fine,
these
because we'll be
days.
better equipped to just murder it immediately.
Dang it.
The Doncast is good at fighting. This isn't a surprise.
I don't actually need to get better at war because I have nobody to lead.
Yet. Think we've learned something about Atlas tonight. He's an annoying son of a bitch with choosing to not want to lie or tell the truth or just in general be helpful.
I told the truth. I wasn't immediate about it, but anyway, got it. So that was
That was the expression bonus.
expression bonus, cap.
Alright, let's put it this way. Do you guys see a reason why you wouldn't get expression or roll bonus?
You defeated a powerful enemy, John.
Yeah, no, so the roll bonus is definite that I would get. I'm not sure about expression, though.
Inspiring others to uphold one of your major defining principles in a significant way. Yep. Anyway. And then that one, yeah, pretty obviously.
I mean, it could be argued for expression that his continued dislike of the Ghost Commander's Retreat ties into his dislike of those who are unwilling to fight.
Is that a major defining or a minor?
It's a minor, so...
I enjoyed that, but what are your major or defining intimacies?
The defining and major are survival through strength, and one must seek challenge to grow.
I will argue that when we heard it,
His excitement of there being more zombies than
Exactly.
initially said.
that we heard about them and we were like, okay, gone, done. Let's do this. There was no argument. There was no convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Which direction? Cool,
Yeah,
got
he
it.
heard hundreds of zombies, and it turns out there were 1,000. He was
yeah.
pretty happy about that. So
Okay.
I guess I could count. 2.
So 4 total.
Okay.
And then Atlas.
You already gave me the expression bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And then the roll bonus inspired the kid about history literally in the last couple minutes.
Mm-hmm. Cut my clothes. Okay, 2, 4.
Okay. And there was a lot of other things that happened throughout that would also potentially apply, but that was the most immediate one that I could think of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it. Obviously, I'm getting
20.
toast. Okay, so
Now I just need to take another 2 months off.
there's a inn in Whitewall called Jolly Roger. And I made that a specific note, but I don't remember why.
Well, you might be able to figure it out by next week.
Okay, so we have a lane.
Instead of a pirate ship, it's a old bald guy with a beer gut with a bottle thing of ale named Roger.
Yep, just a very jolly fellow.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, he could look like Santa, but be named Roger.
It's a little more standard clothes, not the red suit with the...
Who knows? He could be a Firecase Dragonborn. Or not Dragonborn, Firecase Dragon-Blooded.
Right.
Sorry, mix of game systems.
Yeah, I totally understand
that's
that.
okay, I understood what you meant.
Yep.
Okay, so dealing with artifact.
Figuring out what they want to do with us. And so I'm kind of like, the city leaders want to meet with us. That sounds like we should leave.
That might draw more attention than just meeting them. If you think
I mean,
about
you're
it.
not wrong.
Because then they know we have something to hide. For a fact. Like, instead of just being suspicious.
Part of it for me is...
So, I'm gonna say, as far as combat goes for next time, and likely it's not gonna be like a battle group or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna lean towards trying to send you guys out on some kind of mini quest to go deal with a singular monster.
An
That's okay.
errand. Okay.
I mean, that was just what I thought of quickly.
Yeah. And you can amend or adjust that as appropriate.
Indeed.
And we are all about monster hunting, sure, but that doesn't mean there needs to be a ton of combat. It could be a fairly minor point of the night if we want to spend more time exploring Whitewall and what have you.
Yeah. Like, you'd even, like, hand wave something and just be like, why were there hobgoblins in a basement?
I will say that if you want us to stick around or really like Whitewall and want to come back, more descriptions. Like, you did a good job of describing the picture of the valley with Whitewall was awesome. But I mean, like, coming up with, oh, there's this shop and this is the smells that... I know you're fried right now, and I know that takes some prep time. That's why I'm just bringing up, like, those kind of details help us be like, yes, I like this place. You did a really good job with a lot of the descriptions tonight, Becca.
Okay.
I had fun. I enjoyed myself.
I'm glad you heard that.
Yeah.
Because...
And it was really funny because in the Yakuza game, I'm going up against a snooty pretty boy, and turns out the general of the zombie army was also a snooty pretty boy. So...
Very much.
A little
And
bit cathartic for me.
and very Asian looking, too.
I didn't note that part, but okay.
Oh. When I looked at that particular picture, I was like, yeah, that's very Asian style. But that also...
It's the enemy style.
There's a specific thought process behind that meat suit that I don't know if you guys will ever find out. But there's a reason for it.
Well, if he wants to talk to us instead of murder us, that might be a thing we're willing to do. But if he comes at us with another zombie horde, though...
Yeah, exactly. It cuts off the opportunity for diplomacy.
Yeah.
There can be no diplomacy. You are living, he is dead. You all need to be dead.
Oh, so it's a conversion camp.
No. He's a zealot. We can't have a conversation with him.
I mean, you can.
He's like,
It's
just
not gonna
because
go anywhere.
I'm dead, you have to be dead too. We can't accept you because of your differences. Like the fact you have a pulse or skin tone.
Or a heartbeat.
These are all very problematic things. But very solvable.
Fair enough.
Next time on Games of Divinity, a Northern Chronicle.
One thing we're going to find out about Ursa is that he really likes tea.
Atlas's delivery service. Getting you across the world in a couple of days.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I'm not sure. It'd be really fun.
My understanding is short people are very good climbers. They've had to be by necessity.
In order to survive, they've had to be.
I'm not sure if I should be flattered or not, but okay.
Well, he is a...
Who can we have test this new dish? Oh, let's have the fat friend over.